The Mockery and Awakening. The Vraxian battle cruiser, Endless Domination, hovered at the edge of the Sol system, its massive hull gleaming under the distant light of Earth's sun. Commander Drekthar stood with his forearms clasped behind his back, his scaled skin reflecting the soft blue glow of the tactical displays. His vertical pupils, narrowed as the holographic projection, showed Earth's orbital defenses. "This is what the humans call protection," he scoffed, mandibles clicking with amusement. "Primitive orbital platforms. Outdated sensor arrays. Decommissioned warships floating like dead husks." His second-in-command, Sub-Commander Vexnar, approached with a respectful bow. "The intelligence reports confirm, Exalted One. The humans have not engaged in interstellar combat for over 50 Earth years. Their fleet was largely dismantled following the Centauri Accord." Drekthar's upper arms gestured dismissively at the hologram. "The Dominion remembers when humans were considered dangerous, when their warships struck fear into the hearts of even our bravest warriors." He leaned closer to the projection, examining the rusting hulls of Earth's orbital platforms. "Now look at them, a fallen power, isolated and forgotten. The conquest will be swift," Vexnar added. "Our models predict minimal casualties. The humans have forgotten how to fight." Drekthar nodded, his crest rising with pride. "Prepare the invasion fleet. We attack in 3 rotations. The Supreme Overlord will be pleased to add Earth to our collection of subjugated worlds." As the Vraxian commanders plotted Earth's downfall, they remained unaware of the activities taking place deep beneath the lunar surface. In a cavernous chamber carved into the moon's core, Admiral Alina Cowrie studied her own tactical display with intense concentration. At 58, her once black hair had turned silver, but her eyes retained the sharp intensity that had made her legendary during the last war. "Status report on Phoenix Protocol," she demanded, her voice echoing through the command center. Commander Jackson Chen, her chief of operations, stepped forward. "The awakening sequence is at 78%, Admiral. Power cores are charging on all 7 capital ships. Weapon systems are being calibrated." Elena nodded, her expression grim. "And the crews?" "The veterans have reported for duty. Many came out of retirement the moment the call went out." "The younger officers?" Chen hesitated. "They're eager but inexperienced. Most have never seen actual combat." "They'll learn quickly," Elena replied. "They'll have to." She turned her attention back to the lunar observatory feed that showed the Vraxian vessels gathering at the system's edge. Earth's long isolation had been both a blessing and a curse. After the devastating Proxima Centauri conflict 50 years ago, humanity had withdrawn from galactic politics, focusing inward on rebuilding their shattered civilization. To the rest of the galaxy, Earth appeared to have faded into insignificance, a former power now content to hide behind outdated defenses and rusting warships. That was exactly what Elena and her predecessors had wanted them to think. "Admiral," Chen said quietly, "do you really believe the Phoenix Protocol will work? These ships haven't been in active combat for half a century." Elena's lips curved into a slight smile. "The Vraxians have forgotten something crucial about humanity, Commander. We never stop preparing for the worst." Deep within asteroid bases scattered throughout the solar system, within the hollowed-out moons of Jupiter, and in underwater hangars on Earth itself, ancient warships were stirring to life. The Phoenix Protocol, Earth's ultimate contingency plan, had remained a closely guarded secret for decades. While the visible defenses had been allowed to deteriorate, the true fleet had been hidden, upgraded, and maintained in absolute secrecy. On the bridge of the EDF Indomitable, Captain Maya Reyes ran her hand along the polished command console. The ship had been her home during the final years of the last war, and returning to it felt like reuniting with an old friend. The Indomitable was one of Earth's most formidable dreadnoughts, a 12-kilometer behemoth that had once broken through the Arcturian blockade single-handedly. "All systems online, Captain," her executive officer reported. "Fusion drives at 90% capacity. Quantum shields charged. Plasma cannons aligned." Maya nodded, feeling the familiar hum of the ship beneath her feet. Begin crew drills. I want everyone combat ready before the Vraxians make their move. As the crew scrambled to their stations, Maya studied the tactical display showing the approaching Vraxian fleet. Their vessels were impressive, sleek, modern warships equipped with the latest in galactic weaponry. The Vraxian Dominion had expanded aggressively in recent decades, conquering dozens of worlds and establishing themselves as one of the most feared powers in the galaxy. But they had never faced Earth at its most desperate. 3 days later, the Vraxian invasion fleet crossed Neptune's orbit. 35 capital ships accompanied by over 100 support vessels, a force large enough to subjugate an entire sector, let alone a single isolated planet. In the command center beneath the lunar surface, Admiral Alina Cowrie received the alert. "They're earlier than expected," she noted, turning to Commander Chen. "Status of the Phoenix fleet. All ships report ready, Admiral. Awaiting your command." Alina took a deep breath. 50 years of preparation, of secrecy and sacrifice, had led to this moment. She pressed her palm against the biometric scanner, authorizing the fleet-wide transmission. "This is Admiral Cowrie to all Phoenix vessels. Emergence protocol is now active. I repeat, emergence protocol is active. Protect Earth at all costs." Throughout the solar system, hidden doors slid open. Camouflaged hangars powered down their stealth fields. Massive ships rose from gaseous depths of Jupiter's cloud layers. From Earth's oceans, titanic vessels broke the surface, water cascading from their armored hulls. Commander Drekthar was reviewing the final invasion plan when his tactical officer interrupted with urgent news. "Exalted One, we're detecting multiple energy signatures throughout the system." Drekthar frowned. "Explain." "Large vessels, sir. Very large. They're emerging from concealed positions across the solar system." The commander hurried to the main display, watching in disbelief as dozens of massive warships appeared on the tactical overlay. "Impossible." Earth's fleet was decommissioned. "These ships don't match any known Earth designs in our database," the tactical officer reported, his voice wavering. They're bigger than anything we've encountered before." On the bridge of the Endless Domination, Drekthar watched as a massive human dreadnought emerged from Saturn's rings, its hull gleaming with pulsing blue energy lines. 2 more appeared from Jupiter's atmosphere, their weapon systems already tracking Vraxian ships. From Mars, from Venus, from Earth itself, warships continued to appear, forming a defensive perimeter around humanity's homeworld. "Open a channel," Drekthar ordered, trying to keep his voice steady. "Let us see who commands this." Unexpected resistance. Admiral Alina Cowrie's face appeared on the main screen, her expression calm and resolute. "This is Admiral Alina Cowrie of the Earth Defense Force. You have entered Earth-controlled space without authorization. Withdraw immediately." Drekthar's mandibles clicked with derision. "Admiral, you surprise us with your hidden toys, but they change nothing. These old vessels cannot hope to match our modern fleet. Surrender now, and we will be merciful in our conquest." Alina's expression didn't change. "Commander, you seem to be laboring under a misapprehension. These ships aren't old. They're simply from a different era, an era when humanity fought enemies far more dangerous than the Vraxian Dominion." She leaned forward slightly. "You've had the luxury of forgetting what humanity is capable of when cornered. Allow us to remind you." The transmission cut off abruptly. Before Drekthar could respond, the tactical officer shouted in alarm. "Weapons lock. Multiple weapons locks on all vessels." The first salvo from Earth's hidden fleet illuminated the darkness of space with brilliant streaks of energy. The Phoenix Protocol had been activated, and the galaxy was about to remember why humanity had once been feared. The counterattack. The Vraxian invasion force shuddered under the initial barrage from Earth's fleet. 7 Vraxian escort vessels erupted in blinding explosions, their shields collapsing instantly under the concentrated firepower. On the bridge of the Endless Domination, Commander Drekthar gripped his command chair as alerts blared around him. "Impossible." he snarled. "These are outdated human vessels. Their weapons should be primitive compared to ours." Sub-Commander Vexnar rushed to the tactical station, mandibles clicking nervously. "Exalted One, these aren't conventional energy weapons. Our sensors indicate they're using some form of quantum-phased plasma technology. The signatures don't match anything in our database." Drekthar's eyes narrowed to slits. "They've been developing weapons in secret." His voice dropped to a dangerous growl. 50 years of isolation, and they spent it preparing for war. "The human vessels are moving into attack formation," the tactical officer reported. "They're coordinating with remarkable precision." "Deploy all fighters," Drekthar ordered. "Target their largest vessels first. Show these humans that their outdated ships are no match for Vraxian might." Across the solar system, the battle erupted in earnest. Swarms of Vraxian fighters poured from their carriers, streaking toward the human dreadnoughts with weapons blazing. The initial confidence of the Vraxian forces began to waver, however, as they encountered defenses unlike anything they had faced before. On the bridge of the EDF Indomitable, Captain Maya Reyes watched the approaching fighter swarm with cool detachment. "Activate point defense grid," she ordered. "AEGI's protocols at full capacity." The massive dreadnought's surface shimmered as thousands of micro-turrets emerged from previously invisible ports. The AEGI's system, an acronym for Adaptive Electromagnetic Guardian Interception System, had been one of Earth's most closely guarded technological achievements. Within seconds, the space around the Indomitable became a lethal web of precision energy beams, each one tracking and eliminating Vraxian fighters with unerring accuracy. "Keep pushing forward," Maya commanded. "Formation Delta. Let's show them what this old rust bucket can really do." The Indomitable's main engines flared to life, propelling the massive warship directly toward the heart of the Vraxian fleet. Two more Earth dreadnoughts, the Resolute and the Defiant, moved to flank it, creating a spearhead formation that cut through the disorganized Vraxian lines. In the Lunar Command Center, Admiral Alina Cowrie monitored the battle with intense focus. "Status report on Phoenix Squadron," she demanded. Commander Chen studied the tactical display. "Phoenix Squadron has engaged the enemy's right flank. The Vraxians are attempting to regroup, but our ships are disrupting their formations. We're seeing significant confusion in their command structure." Elena nodded. They expected an easy conquest. They're still trying to understand what they're facing. She pointed to a cluster of Vraxian vessels, attempting to establish a defensive perimeter. "Direct the Artemis and the Orion to focus fire on that cruiser group. Don't let them consolidate their position." As the battle progressed, the Vraxian commanders began to realize just how thoroughly they had underestimated Earth's defenses. The human vessels weren't simply warships. They were technological marvels that had been refined and enhanced during 50 years of secret development. On the Vraxian flagship, Commander Drekthar watched in mounting horror as his fleet's formation disintegrated under the relentless human assault. "How are they penetrating our shields?" he demanded. "Our defensive systems are the most advanced in the galaxy." The science officer's voice trembled as she responded. "The human weapons appear to be phase-shifting. Sir, they're changing frequency to match our shield harmonics in real time." Drekthar slammed his fist against the command console. "Impossible. Such technology would require processing capabilities beyond anything known to exist." "Sir," the tactical officer interrupted, "3 more human vessels have emerged from hyperspace near Jupiter. They're on an intercept course." The commander's eyes widened as the tactical display showed the new arrivals, sleek, predatory vessels, unlike the larger dreadnoughts. These ships moved with incredible speed, weaving through the battlefield with maneuvers that seemed to defy the laws of physics. "Interceptors," Vexnar whispered. "The legendary Earth interceptors." During the last war, Earth's interceptor squadrons had become the stuff of nightmares for enemy forces, small, agile, and piloted by crews willing to attempt maneuvers that most species would consider suicidal. They had earned a fearsome reputation throughout known space. The EDF Raptor led the interceptor squadron, piloted by Commander Sora Nakamura, a third-generation pilot whose grandparents had flown similar vessels during the last war. "Raptor Squadron, form up," she called over the comm. Target designation: Vraxian command vessels. Hit and run protocols active. The Earth interceptors accelerated to attack velocity, their specialized engines leaving trails of blue energy as they streaked toward the heart of the Vraxian fleet. Unlike the larger dreadnoughts, these vessels weren't designed for sustained combat. They were surgical instruments, meant to strike critical targets with precision and withdraw before the enemy could respond. Commander Sora's fingers danced across her controls as she piloted the Raptor through a storm of enemy fire. Target locked. Deploying resonance torpedoes. The resonance torpedoes, another classified weapon that Earth had developed in secret, streaked toward the Vraxian command ship. Unlike conventional weaponry, these projectiles were designed to bypass shields entirely, creating localized disruptions in the very fabric of space-time that would tear a vessel apart from the inside. On the bridge of the Endless Domination, alarms screamed as the torpedoes approached. "Evasive maneuvers," Drekthar shouted, but it was too late. The torpedoes phased through the ship's outer shields, as if they didn't exist, detonating against the hull in a series of precisely calculated explosions. The massive Vraxian flagship shuddered as critical systems failed throughout the vessel. Power fluctuations cascaded through the command deck, plunging sections into darkness. "Weapons offline," the tactical officer reported, panic evident in his voice. "Shield generators failing. We're detecting multiple hull breaches on decks 7 through 12. Drekthar's expression hardened as he realized the extent of his miscalculation. The humans hadn't spent the last 50 years cowering behind outdated defenses. They had been preparing, developing technologies that the rest of the galaxy couldn't imagine. "All vessels," he commanded, his voice strained but resolute, "regroup at the designated fallback coordinates. We must withdraw and reassess." Across the battlefield, the Vraxian fleet began to disengage, their once proud formation now a scattered retreat. Earth's warships pressed the advantage, cutting off escape routes and continuing their relentless assault. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Captain Maya Reyes received the transmission from Lunar Command. "Admiral Cowrie is ordering us to pursue the enemy flagship," her communications officer reported. "The Artemis and Phoenix Squadron will handle the remaining cruisers." Maya nodded, a grim smile forming on her lips. "Plot an intercept course. Let's make sure Commander Drekthar understands exactly what happens when someone threatens Earth." The massive dreadnought adjusted its course, accelerating toward the damaged Vraxian flagship. On the tactical display, Maya could see the enemy vessel limping toward Jupiter's orbit, trailing debris and venting atmosphere from multiple breaches. In the Lunar Command Center, Admiral Elena Cowrie watched the battle with satisfaction. The Phoenix Protocol, the culmination of decades of secret preparation, had exceeded even her expectations. Earth's fleet had not only survived first contact with the invaders, but had decisively turned the tide of battle. "The Vraxian flagship is attempting to reach minimum safe distance for a hyperspace jump," Commander Chen reported. "The Indomitable is in pursuit." Elena studied the tactical display thoughtfully. "Have Captain Reyes disable their engines, but leave their communications intact. I want them to be able to tell the rest of the Dominion exactly what happened here today." As the Indomitable closed in on the crippled Vraxian flagship, Maya Reyes gave the order that would seal Earth's victory. "Target their propulsion systems. Precision fire only. We want them dead in space, not destroyed." The dreadnought's main batteries fired in perfect synchronization, the concentrated energy beams slicing through the Vraxian vessel's remaining shields and severing its engine section with surgical precision. The massive alien ship shuddered to a halt, now completely immobilized against the backdrop of Jupiter's swirling clouds. "Open a channel," Maya ordered, straightening her uniform as she prepared to address the enemy commander. Commander Drekthar's face appeared on the main screen, his scaled features contorted with a mixture of rage and disbelief. "You have violated all conventions of warfare," he snarled. "The Dominion will not forget this treachery." Maya regarded him calmly. "Commander, there was no treachery here. You came to our system with the intention of conquest. We defended our home, as any species would. With weapons you developed in secret," Drekthar spat, "while pretending to be a fallen power." "We never claimed to be fallen," Maya replied. "The rest of the galaxy simply assumed we were, and we saw no reason to correct that misapprehension. It provided us with the time we needed." She leaned forward slightly. "You will be permitted to send a single transmission to your government. In it, you will explain that Earth is not open to conquest, negotiation, or tribute. We wish to be left alone, as we have for 50 years. If that wish is not respected..." She gestured to the tactical display showing the remnants of the once mighty Vraxian fleet. "Well, I believe today's demonstration speaks for itself." Drekthar's mandibles clicked in silent fury. But even he could not deny the reality of his defeat. "This is not over, human." "For your sake, Commander," Maya responded, "I sincerely hope that it is." As the Earth fleet consolidated its victory, the news spread throughout the solar system. On Earth itself, citizens emerged from shelters to watch real-time footage of the battle, cheering as they witnessed humanity's triumphant defense. For 50 years, they had lived with the knowledge that the galaxy beyond their solar system was filled with potential threats, species that might, at any moment, decide that Earth was right for conquest. Now, those same potential conquerors would receive a very different message. Earth was not weak. Earth was not defenseless. Earth had not forgotten how to fight. In her private quarters aboard the Lunar Command Center, Admiral Alina Cowrie poured herself a small glass of whiskey, a tradition dating back to Earth's earliest naval victories. Commander Chen joined her, accepting a glass with a nod of thanks. "To the Phoenix Protocol," Alina offered, raising her glass. 50 years in the making." Chen raised his own glass in response. "And to the next 50 years of peace." They drank in silence, both knowing that today's victory was more than just a military triumph. It was a statement to the galaxy, a reminder that humanity, despite its self-imposed isolation, remained a force to be reckoned with. Beyond the lunar orbit, Earth's warships resumed their positions, some returning to their hidden bases, while others established a visible perimeter around the planet. The rusting orbital platforms, the decoys that had so amused the Vraxian commanders, continued their silent vigil, masking the true extent of Earth's defenses. The next would-be conquerors would face an even more formidable response, because if there was one thing the universe needed to understand about humanity, it was this: never judge Earth by appearances alone. Behind those appearances of weakness often lies strength forged in fire, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself.